Sawyer and Vanessa had it all: love, mutual respect, and a thriving tech company they had built from the ground up. Together, they had endured sleepless nights, relentless sacrifices, and challenges most people could only imagine. Each contract signed was celebrated with a quiet nod or a fleeting smile, every victory shared in private acknowledgement. On the hardest days, they would laugh together, their humor cutting through exhaustion. During long nights, they pored over future strategies, fueled by ambition and shared dreams. Everything seemed perfect. But perfection, as always, hides fissures beneath the surface. As the venture group expanded rapidly, small cracks began to appear. One afternoon, in a sleek glass-walled boardroom overlooking the Manhattan skyline, Sawyer unusually questioned some of Vanessa's decisions. Once the office emptied, Vanessa approached him, a gentle, confident smile on her face. "I thought we were on the same page, Sawyer. Since when did you start doubting my ideas?" He exhaled, avoiding her gaze. "I'm just trying to make sure we're doing what's best for the company. Maybe you've gotten a little too comfortable. We're talking about millions here, Vanessa. We need to be more ambitious." Vanessa let out a soft laugh, though a tight knot formed in her stomach. "I am ambitious, but I'm also careful. We didn't get here by chasing growth recklessly. We got here by respecting what we built. We can't lose sight of that." Time passed, but Sawyer's insecurity only grew. While Vanessa worked to protect the company's core values, he hungered for more recognition, more control, more power. That's when Madison entered their lives. Madison, the new marketing manager, exuded charm, strategic brilliance, and a perceptive edge that could unsettle anyone. She immediately noticed Sawyer's appetite for dominance. One day, catching him in the hallway outside the polished offices, she leaned casually against the wall and said, "A man like you shouldn't settle for being just a partner. With your vision, you should be the only name behind this company." Sawyer raised an eyebrow, caught off guard. "You really think that? Vanessa and I built this together." Madison's smile was slow, deliberate, almost predatory. "Of course. But are you sure she sees the future the same way you do? Maybe it's time for you to show who the real leader is." Her words lingered in his mind, echoing long after she had walked away. Soon, Sawyer found himself interrupting Vanessa in meetings, dismissing her ideas, subtly undermining her authority. One night, as she reviewed contracts in their corner office with the lights of the city twinkling below, Vanessa finally confronted him. "What's going on with you, Sawyer? We're more distant than ever. It feels like you don't trust me, or anything we've built." His face was unreadable. "It's not that, Vanessa. I just don't think you understand what it takes to take this company to the next level." She frowned. "And you think I don't want that? Everything I do is to make sure we grow responsibly. We're in this together." He looked away, muttering, "Maybe we just want different things now." Every day, Madison's subtle suggestions festered in his mind. Her whispers of ambition and dominance began to reshape his reality. Vanessa, once his partner and confidant, now appeared to him as a restraint, a weight holding him back. Madison fed his ego like a quiet poison, every half-truth, every sly insinuation, nudging him further from the woman who had built their empire beside him. And while Vanessa poured her energy into protecting everything they had built, she began to sense the shadows gathering around Sawyer. She didn't yet know the full extent of his betrayal, but she was ready to fight for the company, for her life, and for the empire they had dreamed of together. One night, at a corporate gala in a glittering Manhattan ballroom, Sawyer stepped out onto the terrace to catch his breath. The city lights shimmered below like an ocean of stars. Madison joined him, her voice a silky temptation. "You don't need to share your glory with anyone, Sawyer. You're capable of so much more." He allowed himself a faint smile, finally convinced that partnership was weakness, not strength. The woman who had once shared his dreams now seemed an obstacle in his way. What he didn't realize was that in this moment, he had already begun destroying everything they had built together: love, trust, and legacy. The ambition devouring him was only the start of a far deeper betrayal. Madison was like a silent serpent, always present yet invisible. Her influence was subtle, woven through lingering glances, sly smiles, and carefully chosen words. She never commanded, she suggested. Every idea that appeared in Sawyer's mind was a seed she planted, growing quietly but powerfully, convincing him that Vanessa was holding him back. One icy morning, Sawyer pored over financial reports in the empty office. Madison glided in, wearing her knowing smile. She glanced at the papers and said lightly, "I know you're looking for a new direction for the company. Have you thought about how much more we could achieve without limitations?" Sawyer frowned. "Limitations? What do you mean?" She shrugged casually. "You know, outdated ideas. The company needs bold leadership, someone unrestrained by old partnerships." Sawyer felt the sting. He knew she meant Vanessa, but he defended her anyway. "Vanessa's been an incredible partner. Without her, I might not have made it this far." Madison chuckled softly, cold and calculated. "Of course, she helped at the start. But do you really think she still shares your vision? She seems more interested in keeping things the way they are." Her words sank deep, and the room fell into silence. The seed of doubt had already taken root. Weeks later, at another glamorous gala, Sawyer watched Vanessa from across the room as she laughed effortlessly with colleagues. Madison leaned toward him, whispering, "Look at her. How easily she connects with everyone. Maybe she's making sure people are on her side, just in case." Sawyer turned to her, uncertain. "What are you talking about?" She sighed, as if burdened with a secret. "Vanessa has influence, more than you realize. If she ever decided to turn against you, she could use that power. I could be wrong, but it's worth thinking about." A chill ran down his spine. Could Vanessa really be plotting against him? Every smile, every word, every gesture she made began to twist in his mind. From that moment on, truth and manipulation became indistinguishable. Madison knew exactly what she was doing. She nurtured distrust and widened it whenever possible. During a closed-door meeting, she handed Sawyer a stack of documents, her expression flawlessly composed. "These decisions need a strong, independent leader," she said smoothly. "If Vanessa reviews every little detail, we'll lose time and opportunities. Maybe it's time to make a few decisions without her approval. Don't you think?" Sawyer hesitated. Madison leaned closer, her tone intimate, persuasive. "You don't fully trust her anymore, do you? Who knows if she's already planning her next move? I just want to make sure you have full control, Sawyer. After all, you deserve to be the only name at the top." He stared at the papers and slowly, Vanessa's image began to distort in his mind. The warmth in her smile seemed calculated. Her affection appeared rehearsed. Madison watched with a faint, satisfied smile as Sawyer picked up the pen. With each signature, he slipped further from Vanessa, deeper into Madison's carefully woven web. Patient, subtle, precise, every glance, every whisper pushed him to believe that Vanessa, his once greatest ally, was now the obstacle. Soon, Sawyer no longer saw Vanessa as his partner. She had become his rival. Madison had ensured it. And while he convinced himself that he was simply taking control, Madison silently celebrated every choice that tightened her grip over him. The sound of his pen sliding across the glossy surface of the mahogany desk marked the beginning of the end. With every stroke, a plan meticulously crafted by Madison took shape. Her whispers of power and total control draped over him like a velvet cloak. Standing beside him, she murmured promises of success, of dominion over everything that had once been theirs together. Each signature felt to Sawyer like freedom, a step toward an empire that would finally bear only his name. But Vanessa sensed something was wrong. The details of their projects, once shared openly, discussed endlessly, now seemed to slip from her grasp. One afternoon, while reviewing company documents under the harsh fluorescent lights of their midtown office, she noticed a signature that didn't look quite right. It was her name, yes, but the strokes were unfamiliar, the letters subtly off. Frowning, she called Sawyer into the room. He appeared calm, almost unreadable, his tailored suit impeccably pressed. "Sawyer, what is this? These signatures look like mine, but I don't remember signing these documents." He smiled, far too easily, that practiced charm masking something colder underneath. "Oh honey, you've been so busy lately. I thought I'd save you the trouble and handle them myself." I used the authorization you gave me months ago. It's nothing to worry about. Vanessa stared at him, uncertainty and disbelief warring in her mind. The idea that her husband might forge her signature seemed absurd, yet the pit of unease in her chest refused to fade. "Trust me," he said, his tone gentle, though beneath it lingered a hard edge. "Everything I'm doing is for the company. We want the same thing, don't we?" She forced a smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. "Of course. I just hope you're not hiding anything from me. We've always been partners, Sawyer. Don't forget that." He nodded, glancing away. Deep down, he knew their bond was unraveling, thread by thread. The woman who had once been his greatest ally now stood as the final obstacle between him and complete power. Days later, more irregular documents surfaced, each one confirming Vanessa's growing suspicions. Late one night, she returned to the office alone. The building was silent, the streets outside glowing with the muted lights of passing taxis. Her desk lamp cast long shadows across stacks of folders as she meticulously examined every file, signatures, notes, contracts, until her hand froze. There it was, a contract signed by Sawyer, officially erasing her name from the partnership. Her name had been wiped from the record, as if she had never existed. Her hands trembled as she held the paper, the icy weight of betrayal pressing down on her chest. Footsteps echoed behind her. Sawyer entered the office, his expression tight, his eyes narrowing when he saw the document clutched in her hands. "Vanessa," he began, his voice low. She looked up, a mixture of disbelief and heartbreak twisting her features. "Sawyer, what is this? How could you do this to me?" He hesitated, searching for justification. "You don't understand. The company needed one decisive leader. We were stagnant. I had to make a choice. I couldn't wait for you to agree." Vanessa shook her head, her voice breaking. "So instead of talking to me, you betrayed me? You went behind my back as if I didn't matter." He straightened, his posture rigid, his tone detached. "It was the only way. You've always wanted to control everything to keep things safe. But I can't live like that. This company needs to grow, and maybe that means growing without you." The words hit her like a blade. The man she had shared dreams with for years had vanished, replaced by a stranger consumed by ambition. Her voice hardened, steady despite the fury boiling inside her. "This company is as much mine as it is yours. If you think you can erase me with a forged signature, you're wrong. I will fight for everything we built. I will not let you destroy our legacy." He gave a slight shrug, as if indifferent. "Do what you want, Vanessa. But it's only a matter of time. The decisions have already been made. You're out." With that, he walked away, leaving her alone in the silence of the office. She clutched the papers to her chest, the proof of his betrayal, and felt grief twist into a fierce, burning determination. She knew a battle was coming, and Sawyer had no idea who he had underestimated. Days later, the boardroom of the venture group hummed with tension. Cold light reflected off the glass walls, creating sharp, angular patterns across the polished conference table. Vanessa stood tall, poised, every eye fixed on her. She was no longer the partner who believed in shared dreams. She was a force ready to reclaim everything that belonged to her. Sawyer sat at the far end of the table, his expression stern, though the slight tremor of his hand betrayed the anxiety he tried to hide. Madison lingered nearby, casting disdainful glances at Vanessa, confident she still controlled the situation. But that was the day Vanessa had chosen to unveil the truth, the day their masks would finally fall. With a serene, almost imperious smile, Vanessa addressed the room. "Thank you all for being here today. I need to show you what's really been happening behind the scenes in this company." She opened a thick folder, revealing contracts, documents, and undeniable evidence of Sawyer's betrayals. In silence, she passed copies around the table. As the board members scanned the pages, expressions shifted from curiosity to disbelief. Sawyer's composure faltered. "How much longer?" Vanessa asked, her voice unflinching. "Were you planning to hide this from me? Or better yet, from all of us?" He exhaled sharply, glaring. "These documents don't prove anything, Vanessa. They're baseless accusations. You're trying to destabilize the company." "Oh, really?" she replied coolly. "Then explain the forged signatures, the altered contracts, the transfers to offshore accounts. Instead of trying to discredit me, maybe you could have the decency to admit what you did. Murmurs rippled around the table. Madison, who had been silent until now, finally spoke, her voice calm but venomous. Maybe you're just jealous, Vanessa. Sawyer has vision, something you never had. This company was going nowhere because of you. He did what was necessary to move forward. Vanessa's laugh cut through the tension like a whip. Jealous? Madison, you speak as if you know what it means to build something from the ground up. I was there when he had nothing, when he lacked the ambition he flaunts now. And you think you can erase my history and claim it as yours. The air in the room grew thick with tension. Vanessa opened another envelope, pulling out a set of emails and recordings between Sawyer and Madison, detailing the plot they had designed together to remove her from the company. As the board members read, shock and disbelief swept across their faces. Finally, a director spoke. This is unacceptable. Sawyer, if these documents are verified, you won't just lose your position. You could face serious legal consequences. Sawyer stood, his voice trembling with anger. These so-called proofs are fake. Can't you see? She's doing this because she can't accept that our marriage is over. But the desperation in his voice betrayed him far more than his words ever could. Vanessa held his gaze steadily, unflinching, every ounce of her resolve visible in her eyes. No, Sawyer, she said, her voice firm, unwavering. I'm not trying to destroy you. I'm making sure you face the consequences of your choices. You chose this path, now you live with it. The executive board deliberated in tense silence, the gleaming glass walls of the boardroom reflecting the weight of the moment. When the decision was finally announced, it reverberated like a thunderclap. Both Sawyer and Madison were removed from all positions within the venture group. Madison's eyes blazed with fury and humiliation as she turned toward Sawyer, who could not even meet her gaze. The reality of his isolation crashed down on him. He was alone, stripped of power and fully exposed. As they exited the building, the image of their downfall lingered in everyone's minds, the once powerful duo reduced to shadows of the people they had pretended to be. Later that afternoon, Vanessa received a welcome visit. Lauren stepped into her office, her presence warm and grounding, and wrapped her in a reassuring hug. That was incredible, Vanessa, Lauren said, her voice filled with, I don't know how you had the courage to do it. Vanessa's smile was faint, edged with exhaustion, yet beneath it, relief radiated. I did what needed to be done, Lauren. Losing someone's trust hurts deeply, but losing yourself? That's something I could never allow. In that moment, she realized she had truly won, not only the battle for her company, but the one for her own peace of mind. A few days later, her newly renovated office buzzed with a vibrant, purposeful energy. The venture group, once threatened by betrayal, now thrived under her renewed leadership. For the first time in months, Vanessa felt entirely in control. Around her, a team of dedicated professionals moved with precision and focus, guided by a woman who had become a symbol of strength and resilience. Within a month of Sawyer and Madison's removal, Vanessa had redefined the company's core values, putting integrity and respect above all else. During a team meeting, she surveyed the confident faces before her, a soft smile playing on her lips. We've been through a difficult time, all of us, she said, her voice steady, echoing with authority. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that nothing is more valuable than our essence. Today, we're not just rebuilding a business. We're rebuilding a legacy that belongs to every single one of us. After the meeting, Lauren entered, carrying a stack of documents and grinning. Vanessa, I've never been happier to see you in this office, she said. You're glowing. Vanessa let out a soft sigh, the tension in her shoulders easing. Thanks, Lauren. Honestly, when everything happened, I thought I'd never recover. But now I see that what they tried to take from me only made me stronger. Sawyer and Madison taught me a lot about who I am. Lauren sat down, her curiosity obvious. And what about them? Have you heard anything? Vanessa gazed out at the sprawling New York City skyline, the afternoon sun reflecting off the skyscrapers. Yes, Sawyer lost almost everything. He's not just out of the company. He's facing multiple lawsuits. Madison disappeared. Last I heard, she's trying to start over somewhere else. Lauren's smile was thoughtful. I almost feel sorry for them. Blind ambition destroys anyone. You're living proof that integrity always wins. Vanessa nodded. I used to think about that too. Not anymore. I'm choosing to focus on what lies ahead. The past doesn't deserve my attention. In the following weeks, Vanessa's leadership ushered in a wave of innovation and fresh partnerships with local businesses across the city. She became known not only for what she had built, but for inspiring others to rebuild themselves after adversity. At a bustling entrepreneurship event in Lower Manhattan, she spoke to a crowd of young professionals, her voice confident and compelling. There are lessons we only learn after facing our hardest trials, she said. Never underestimate the power of truth and resilience. Those are the values that build lasting success, and they're the foundation of our future. That night, returning to her apartment overlooking the city lights, Vanessa felt an unfamiliar peace settle over her. The journey had been painful, but she had emerged stronger and freer. As she stepped into her living room, an envelope on the floor caught her eye. It was from Sawyer. His words were remorseful, an apology for everything he had done, an admission that he didn't expect forgiveness but wanted her to know he was trying to change. Vanessa read it quietly, then placed the letter in a drawer. It was just another chapter, one she had already closed. The next morning, she walked into her office where friends, colleagues, and new opportunities awaited her. She didn't know what the future held, but she faced it with courage, determination, and gratitude. Betrayal may destroy dreams, but it also reveals the strength to start again. When confronted with pain, courage allows resilience to rise, and even after loss, there is always a new, truer path forward. You just heard this one from Stories by Sue. If it resonated, don't forget to like and subscribe. What are your thoughts? Share them in the comments. I'd love to hear. Thanks for watching.